This past weekend, I saw The Wolfman with my wife. Actually, not The Wolfman. I saw Wolfman as it has been redubbed. Excuse me. And I'd have to give this movie a 7 out of 10, and I will explain that to you why later on in this video. But before we jump into all of that, if you are new here, please like this video, share it around for your friends, and subscribe. Hit that alert button so you never miss another one of my nerdy videos. Now, anybody that knows me knows I love anything werewolf. Teen Wolf, Big Wolf on Campus, The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr., The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, Van Helsing. I can go on and on and on. But yes, I am a horror fan. I love the classic Universal monsters. I watch some vampire stuff every now and then, but werewolves have always been and will always be my jam, if you want to call it that. So when I found out years ago that they were planning on rebooting the Universal Monster franchise, and that went awry with the whole Tom Cruise mummy thing, and then they were redoing it again with Blumhouse, I found out that they were literally rebooting the Wolfman franchise just like they did with the Invisible Man, which I thoroughly enjoyed. If you have not seen 2020's Invisible Man, you're missing out. And yeah, I may do a video on that later. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't seen that, you're missing out. But I was interested in what they could do with Wolfman, with the Wolfman franchise to, freshen it up, bring it to life. 2010 did an amazing job, in my opinion. I love that movie. I'll stick by that movie. The prosthetics done by Ron Baker and all of that good stuff were amazing. The Wolfman costume paid homage to Lon Chaney's version from back in the day, but made it even more modern, for the times of 2010. If I could say myself, for 2010, the transformation and makeup and everything, I mean, it rivals what they did in American Werewolf in London. And even back then, that was amazing. So, yeah, they made it more modern, and of course, it would rival it. What am I talking about? But yeah, they made it more modern, and I mean, combining CGI with practical effects, it was amazing. And I was interested in what they would do in this film. And let me say, yes, I gave the film a 7 out of 10, but it wasn't for the effects or anything. It was more of the story. This film was written by Leigh Whannell from a screenplay he co-wrote with Corbett Tuck. It's a reboot of the Wolfman franchise. Like I've said, it stars Christopher Abbott, Julia Garner, and Sam Jagger. The plot follows a family man seeking to protect his wife and daughter from a werewolf, only to become infected and slowly transform into the creature. Jason Blum produces alongside his Blumhouse Productions banner. Now, I have to say, the way that they approached the whole werewolf transformation, the whole Wolfman transformation, and how they flipped the werewolf mythos. You get bit by a werewolf, you become a werewolf on the night of a full moon. When the sun goes down, well, when the sun comes up, I should say, you transform back. A lot of werewolf interpretations, they have changed that, every now and then, like shows with Teen Wolf, you can turn whenever you want to. You can control the transformation, stuff like that. They play with the mythos all the time. But this was lit. First of all, the word werewolf or wolfman is never really uttered. It's thought of as a virus, as an infection. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. And I found that really, really, really interesting. Even from oh God, it's so visceral and graphic the way that this infection takes you over. They don't look like your traditional werewolves, guys, like at all. Like, yes, you have the claws and you have the fangs, but when the sun comes up, they stay transformed. Once you transform, and this is my headcanon, once you've transformed, once the infection, the virus is taking you completely over, you stay that way. There is no turning back. Now, this we pick up back in 1995, 30 years in the past. We pick up in the remote mountains of Oregon. Some speculation sparks about a virus linked to the region's wildlife. Blake Lovell and his father Grady, they're out. Grady is very, very strict on Blake, and Blake is a very, very curious kid. As most kids are, they don't think about stuff. So, they're out on a hunting trip, and his father basically tells him to be careful, pay attention. He runs off after a deer trying to catch it. He ends up stumbling upon the Wolfman of that time period. He sees him, they hide, and they hide in like one of those what would you call them? I don't I in a hunting blind, a deer hunting blind. That's what you would call it. They are hiding in a deer hunting blind, and that ties in with something that happens at the end of this film, and it's really really cool to see how they juxtaposed that against the past. It was really nice storytelling, but I mean, I wish we could have spent more time because spoilers, if you have not seen the film, this film takes cues from the 2010 remake. That's the difference. This is a complete reimagining. 2010 was a remake with a few embellishments. The minor embellishment being that the father, the father is the one who curses the son. The father is the one who bites the son. But in this version, yes, he's the wolf infected monster that scratches Blake. That's the other thing that's different. In the other one, it was Lawrence Talbot. In this version, it's Blake Lovell. So they changed a lot. Him being married and having a kid. His wife Charlotte. They have a daughter named Ginger. The one thing that I could not really understand is the fact that they decided to add in some like marital spat that didn't really factor into the film at all. And that took away from the storytelling. I felt as if I wanted to explore Blake more as a man, but it seems like soon as we have the first few minutes with him as a child, see that his father is kind of a jerk, but just a overprotective jerk. But my whole thing was like, if you're scared about where you're living and you're dealing with this, monster, this wolf man, this infected creature that's out here, and you're worried about your son, why not just move? But that's my logical thinking. That's not me thinking in this world, if you get what I mean. So, he receives his father's death certificate. His father has finally been declared dead after so many years. He said he left because he didn't want to deal with his father anymore in the way his father, treats him. He doesn't want to deal like that with his daughter, but he does have those moments when she doesn't listen. And him and his daughter, first of all, Blake and Ginger, they have a wonderful relationship. The way that he cares for her, the casting and the chemistry for these roles for this family was great, in my opinion. Yeah, the cast of this film is not big at all. Like, honestly, we literally only have what? One, two, three, four, five. We only have five roles legitimately cast in this film. This film is literally ultimately contained within Blake's house and around that area in Oregon, and that's really interesting storytelling for me. Another thing that I really enjoyed was how they went about displaying and showing the audience this infection, this transformation taking over from Blake's perspective. We see when his super hearing, as you want to call it, his wolf hearing is coming in. He hears some knocking. He goes to check on his family. His family is still laying down sleep, but he hears it and it's getting more and more intense. He goes upstairs, open the closet. It's a spider climbing up the wall. Now, I thought there was a tarantula. If you've seen this movie, it looks like a gigantic tarantula, like just like it's a huge spider. But he's just hearing the spider crawling on the walls. That's how he knows something is wrong. Now, the infection, the scratch on his arm is getting way worse. Like it's literally digging into him. And these werewolves, this wolf, this curse, whatever it is, the sickness, infection, whatever you want to call it, these are relentless. Like I said, you don't turn back into a human when the sun comes up. You stay this way. You're stuck this way for the rest of your life. It seems they didn't really expand upon that because in the past films, you have in the past werewolf films, you have the gypsies and the fortune tellers that can tell you what's going on. In this movie, you don't have none of that, which is another flaw. But yeah, you don't have none of that. They're just going about it the only way that they can. So the titular Wolfman is Blake, but the one that's coming after him, the one that scratched him, the one that's been killing everybody in these woods is his father, which makes me wonder, did his father kill the werewolf that bit him? That makes me wonder because, yes, Blake does end up taking his father's life to save his family. And that's the one thing that I can say that I really liked. Um, though this movie is called Wolfman, we're not focusing on Blake as the Wolfman. We're focusing on him, trying to overcome this infection, but he cannot, and he has to protect his family from the one that scratched him. And when he does find out that he did kill his father, you can tell it took a toll on him, but the transformation is still taking a toll on him. At every single turn, Blake's trying to control himself to get himself away from his family. Like when you see how he sees, when you like the night vision, the canine wolf vision, whatever you want to call it, seeing stuff from that perspective, he cannot understand what his family is saying. And we keep going back and forth between his perspective and the family's perspective or the audience's perspective. And I thought that was really, really cool because you don't see that a lot in movies that deal with like supernatural creatures. You don't really see that a lot. And I thought that was a nice touch, like him not being able to understand anything. That was really, really cool. What I'd say is his daughter in the end, like she does understand, like he doesn't want to live like this. He wants to die. And in the end, they do have to take his life. And then the movie just ends, which was also a very jarring ending because we don't, it's no resolution. Like we don't know how they go back to their everyday life since it's now just Charlotte and Ginger. It's now just mother and daughter. They had to kill their father, their husband, the man that they loved, like it's just weird. The pacing in this film was weird for me. Like it was really weird for me. But other than that, guys, like this movie is a solid 7 out of 10. Like the transformation scenes was great. The fighting scenes, like the few fights, the action scenes that we did get, they were really cool. Like they kept the suspense up. They give you the jump scares that you would expect from something like this. It's just I wish they took a little bit more time with the story, which is why I'll always take the Lon Chaney version and the Benicio del Toro version. But I mean, this is a werewolf movie at the end of the day. This will always be up there. But if I'm ranking it, OG, remake, then the reboot, I'd have to do it like that. I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10 just because I'm being nice. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Me and my wife had a good time at the movie theater though. Yeah, I mean, would I see this movie again? Yes, when it comes out on streaming, I'll watch it again and see if my opinion changes. But like I said, this was cool. Ryan Gosling was originally cast as the new Wolfman, but that was in a film for Derek Ciafrance to direct. I don't know what happened with that. I remember all of these rumors coming out, way back in the day. I don't know what happened with that, but I am glad that they finally got this movie out. It did not have a world premiere because of the Los Angeles fires. We all know what was happening with that at the beginning of the month. But like I said, I give this movie a 7 out of 10. The budget was 25 million. They made 29.8 million in the box office. So they didn't lose a lot of money on this. I mean, it's pretty cool. Like it's a decent film. Like I said, the film isn't bad, but it isn't amazing either. It's just my opinion. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. And I'll see you back here next time, possibly tomorrow if you come to Party Nation. So yeah, catch you later.